Hello, Eric. How are you today?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited to have a chance to talk to you because, first of all, I love this movie. I had all the feels. I was laughing. I was crying. I mean, it gives you everything. And I guess I don't know when we first meet Hank, the character that you play. I guess the best way to describe him when we first meet him, he's a piece of work. How did you connect with him?
Yeah, I mean he's a deadbeat dad. Let's put it that way. That clearly drove his wife away by being such a sort of shut in, and is ripping off the government by taking disability checks
Yeah.
he doesn't deserve. Doesn't sound very lovable,
No.
and yet, what I read as soon as I read him, because my wife's family comes from this area of northern BC,
Yeah.
I I knew how he sounded. And I thought I can make this guy lovable. And he sounds like my wife's uncle, Uncle Donnie. That guy goes, "Well, we're gonna go to the game, but I'm gonna meet you there because I gotta go to Timmy's first. Yeah, I gotta pick a coffee first." And so playing that, I never get to play that guy.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's true. You don't.
and Stephen Campanelli, the director, called me. He said, "What do you think?" I said, "I'm in as long as I can have a Burton Cummings mustache. That's crucial to me." He said, "Absolutely." So that was once I had that, once I'd grown that, I was Hank Drinkwater.
I was going to ask you that because, yeah, that is a legendary character in this film. That I was almost going to say porn stash, but you called it the Burton Cummings stash. That's fine. It's all good. Does facial hair grow easily on you, Eric?
Oh yes, yes. It doesn't grow as dark as it used to, but yes, I had the first role that I had in television that really mattered before Will and Grace was 2 years on Lonesome Dove, which was shot
Yes,
in
that's
Calgary,
right.
Alberta, for which I
Yeah,
grew quite a beard. That's when I
yeah,
met my wife. I was
yeah.
quite long haired and bearded, and it was incredibly disappointing for her when I shaved it off.
So did this rekindle some flames in the marriage, like when the mustache came out? Hmm.
You saw that mustache, Bonnie. That's not rekindling any flames in anyone.
Okay, enough said, Eric. Enough said. And I love the relationship that you have with the young actor who plays Mike
Daniel,
Daniel.
yes.
Oh my God, your son in this. I wanted to know if your own fatherly instincts kicked in with him.
Well, a lot. Um, because he's actually older than he is in the film, but at the time of the film he was supposed to be exactly the age that my son is, sort of 18 and
Yeah,
just high school. So I related so much to what that relationship is and what it's supposed to be. And the fact, because nobody's a perfect parent, so I would look at Hank's shortcomings and start thinking about my own. But also, I got very paternal with regards to Daniel as an actor, because I could see where he was going. He was very similar to me. He comes from the theater.
yeah.
He's a very, very good dramatic actor, but he's hilarious too. He's so funny in this film.
He's
Uh,
great. Yeah.
and when I finally got a cut of it to show my family, with it was still COVID and quarantine. It was about, I guess, 8 months after we shot it. I brought it home. We were in Vancouver, and I showed my family. And at the end of it, I said to my son, who rarely watches my stuff, but I said, "So what did you think?" He said, "That guy's more like your son than I am." And it was true. I mean, just Daniel and I just it's a great piece of casting.
Yeah, and wow, Penticton, like what a beautiful part of the country. I've
Mm.
not been out there, but it was so beautifully shot, Eric. Like the cinematic, when they're doing the running scenes and you see those
Mhm.
wide shots, it's beautiful.
Well, your audience will probably be fascinated to know that our director, Steve, he's directed just a few films,
Yeah.
but he's been the camera operator on virtually everything that Clint Eastwood has done for the last 35 years.
Okay.
Everything. Um, and by when I say camera operator, I mean in the last few films he's virtually kind of the other director besides Clint. I mean he knows what he's doing, and he particularly knows how to make a movie look incredible. We didn't have a lot of money on this movie, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't know it.
No.
Particularly from all of those overhead shots, as you say, of the town and the mountains and the ocean. That's so great.
Oh, just stunning. Really, really added to the film. And I think, you do a lot of riding in this film, whether you're on the exercise bike, on the scooter, but I think everyone's going to be extremely jealous when they see you driving that Zamboni. I mean, come
Yeah.
on, Eric McCormack, a Canadian who gets to drive a Zamboni in a film. Does it get any better than that?
Well, what was amazing, because it's the hockey's a big piece of the film in addition
Yes.
to long distance running, but the Zamboni is this payoff that we shot right near the end, and my ne'er-do-well character finally gets a job, and it's the Zamboni, and the crew, this all Canadian crew. You'd think I'd walked in with the Stanley Cup on my head or something. I mean, just when I got off the Zamboni, they were touching me like I was now blessed by the gods. It was everybody's dream, guys and gals on the crew. They're just like, wow, what was it like? It was amazing to me.
Yeah, well, how cool. Very, very jealous, I have to tell you. Yeah, and as you say, it is such a very Canadian flavor film. You know, you have to get the hockey and all that in there, but Timmy, I mean, Tim Hortons, like,
The great Tim Hortons cameo. A few hockey players make cameos.
yep.
Um, and the best cameos of all are the music in this film.
Oh, I was going to say, what an amazing soundtrack. Wow.
Like
Yeah.
any kind of coming of age romantic comedy, those fun needle drops are really important. But Steve set out to make sure they were all. I think there's only one that isn't Canadian.
Yeah.
So Doug and the Slugs and Bachman Turner Overdrive, and just when you Lover Boy, there's a great Lover Boy.
Yes.
I mean, it's the coming of age story that every Canadian needs.
Absolutely. You know, Eric, what I love about you too is just, you know, despite all of your amazing success that you've had in the US and everything, you keep coming home, you do stuff here. It's got to be very important to you to maintain that, I would think.
Well, yeah, for so many reasons. I mean, I spent my first 10 years of my career in the Canadian theater.
Yeah.
Not just in Ontario. I mean, I was across the country. I worked at every theater, I think, except Halifax. And so my parents, my grandparents, I'm Canadian, born and bred, long time, but so is my wife. She's the other side of the country. She's very Alberta, very northern BC. And we both kind of made our home around the time we met each other in Vancouver. So
yeah,
for so many reasons and in so many places, Canada will never stop meaning all of it to me. And I was very grateful to be able to come down here and get citizenship and make such a great show like Will and Grace. But I'm always wanting to come home. And
yeah, well,
more and more.
We always have you. There's no question about it. Okay, Will and Grace, we got to go there because listen, as a fan of that show, never missed an episode. I was so excited when you guys were able to come back and revisit it. But oh my God, I am so excited because the Smart List group has announced that you and Sean Hayes are getting together to do this podcast, Just Jack and Will. Please tell me about this. I am so excited.
Well, we've just started. We're going to go through every episode. It's like what they call a rewatch podcast. And it was Sean's idea. He came to me. He actually came to me a few years ago about producing it, but have it Deb and I do it. And we just finished the reboot, and COVID was just starting, and it was like, But then Sean just came to me and said, "What if it's just you and me, just having the fun that we have and we have a lot of fun when we have lunches together." But the kick of it is that I've continued to watch the show in reruns over the years. Sean has not. He hasn't watched the show at all. And I thought, well, this is the podcast. It's you and I watching it together so that you can rediscover this show that has made our lives. And we've podcasted 2 of them. They'll get released starting in June. But we are having such a laugh watching the episodes again, remembering the little details and which lines were ad-libbed or which lines were rewritten on the fly. And it's been fun.
And the best thing too is you can bring in your buddies as guests, like Deborah and Megan and everybody. The possibilities are endless with this kind of show.
Yeah, and my wife. First of all, we're going to try to have people that are whatever episode, but we'll try to have whoever was the guest star on that show. But then my wife said last night, well, you should have people that weren't even on the show, but are young people that were influenced by it, and they can talk about they watched it all with their parents or something. And that's the biggest influence of the show, is particularly gay men and
Yes.
coming up and saying thank you, because if I hadn't watched my parents watching the show, I wouldn't have known it was okay to come out to them. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest legacy for us, more than even the comedy.
Well, I'll keep an ear open for it because I'm a smart list. I listen to every week, and so and I love Sean, and I love you guys, and and I hope there'll be a nice tribute episode to Leslie as well. That would be lovely.
Oh, of course. I mean, the first time we have a Leslie episode, I guess is probably second season, and there will be a lot about that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I always love chatting with you, Eric. And like I said, this movie is just fantastic. So congratulations on everything, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for your time
Thanks,
today.
Bonnie.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for talking about Drinkwater.
Yeah, take care. Bye bye.
Bye.